David was one of the first on. I appreciate that. Here we go. Chris GTO, hello to you. Danger, good morning to you as well, too. Tanner, I've been meaning to do more live streams. It's entirely on me. A lot of times it's, okay, I've got 3 videos I really want to do right now, or I can sit down and do a live stream. And quite often I just default to, hey, I really want to get these videos done. They're timely, they got to get up. And so I make the videos. But this morning I decided with the limited time that I have, I'm going to live stream. I also recorded something else this morning, which I think you're really going to like for tomorrow. If you're a baseball fan, specifically what just happened with the Tampa Bay Rays. There we go. The Sports Boffin checking in from the UK. 8 or 9 hours ahead. I love that. Sharks Fan 8080. I'm glad to be here live again. Thank you very much for finding me. I asked everybody to hit the like button. Chris says I can only hit it once. Well, I appreciate that. Hey, SGA Sports Talk. Welcome to membership here on the channel. I'm not going to force that on anybody. I'm not even going to ask that of you. There are some pretty cool benefits. You get to see so many videos early here on the channel. I really do try and reply to all of the members' comments first and exclusively when I have time. So, SG, I really appreciate that. Christian saw me at SAP Center last weekend. Hey, you're probably going to see me there tomorrow night. Preseason game number 2 of the hockey season. Smokey checking in. First question for who's Mr. Brazil? You can call me Brody. Can you make a video that points out the need for an investor group to form and position themselves to compete for expansion in Oakland? Time is of the essence. Smokey, you bring up a tremendous point, and I think I've made this video to some degree already, but Oakland has to stop playing defense. You went through what you went through, timing, people, all of it the wrong situation. If there is any hope, any desire, start right now. Utah's out there. Portland's out there. They're clearing way. They're making waves. I don't even know if expansion in baseball is close. If I'm being really honest, I don't know that it is. They've got a whole labor issue to work out, salary cap yes or no to work out. They've got competitive imbalance to work out. They've got so many things, TV deals, media rights deals, regionally and nationally. Baseball's got a lot on its plate. But at least if you're Oakland, start that process right now. Who are these investors? Where is this land? What would the city of Oakland do? What would the county of Alameda do? Don't just sit on your heels. Don't just sit on your hands. Start playing some offense on this. Andre, thank you for hitting the like button. Good morning to you, SGA. And again, thank you for joining. Good morning from Connecticut. It was a beautiful scenic montage coming in, right? And I didn't take those shots, by the way. I saw somebody ask if that was my pilot footage. No, that's stock footage that I've got access to. Is the Vegas Stadium really going to happen? Well, you've seen construction. People look at the live webcam. Concrete has been poured. Poured? Can I say poured? It's starting to go vertical, right? I think up to this point, there are a lot of questions. Who's paying for this? Has everything even been approved from a licensing standpoint and from, all the different things that need to happen? Have they all actually happened, or are they just like rogue starting construction here? My point is permits. My point is, I think at this point, you've got Major League Baseball who's behind this, and you've got the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority who are behind this. And at this point, even if the A's are to fail at something, even if John Fisher can't fund this fully by himself and can't find anybody else to invest in it and can't sell the soccer team to earn, $500, $600, $700 million instantly and help fund everything, I think there's too many other willing and able parties to help make this happen, to help will this happen. Not will it happen, to will it through. So I think, is it going to happen? I think something's going to get built. After that, who gets to finalize it, how it all comes together, I'm just saying it's almost like a kid at a birthday party swinging the bat at the piñata, can't hit the piñata, so mom or dad has to come over and say, here, Billy, turn this way. Let me help you hit that piñata. And that person, that parent coming in, is Major League Baseball and or the Las Vegas Convention Visitors Authority. All right, I'm going to try and catch up here on the comments. Wow, I got way behind very quickly. Oh my gosh, I accidentally just scrolled. And yeah, I realized how many comments there were. David again, yes, well, I would say more myth than, well, more man than myth, but more myth than legend. How about that? Did you already get a commercial? Wait a second. And now a message from our sponsors. I didn't put any ads in this, so if it's doing that, YouTube is doing that, I'll take a deeper look into that. Math is hard. Yes, there's no doubt about that. Puck Guy, what's up, buddy? How are you? Glad you could tune in while you're working. What a job you've got, huh? You can keep YouTube on the side, or maybe nobody knows. Maybe you've got the AirPods in. Either way, I appreciate it. Math, how does that work? Hello, everybody from the UK. Appreciate that. I hope I can make it awesome. Watching from Florida. Dreambert reminding you to like and subscribe. I always appreciate that. Oh, man, I love this. 3:45 in the morning it's not Brisbane, it's Brisbane. Like, say it right, Brazil. Brisbane, Australia. And no, I won't be doing my dodgy Australian accent. Not going to do that. How about those Mariners? How about Cal Raleigh? Like, that is unbelievable how many home runs he's hit. And how many more, he's got a couple more games. What a story. I should do something on Cal Raleigh's season and just, how amazing it is for a catcher to hit that many home runs. And Seattle to be back on the map. And how many years and tries have they had where they were so close, final weekend of the season, or they win 100 games only to get eclipsed by like an A's or an Astros team that had 105 and they don't win the division, they don't make the playoffs. So, hey, very cool that, by the way, Blood Dragon is checking in from Australia. How about, am I saying this right? Luan Renato Rosalind in Brazil, 2:50 p.m. I love it. I'm Brody Brazil. You're in Brazil. That's amazing. Recorder Boy is checking in from Mobile, Alabama. Peterson is checking in from Florida. New Brunswick, Canada. Eagle is here for Rays Talk and Rumors. Well, guess what? You're going to get that tomorrow morning. A great piece that I think you're going to like. Burge is checking in from Alexandria, Louisiana. And we get to our first super chat, which, by the way, I always try and explain this in the best way possible. You don't have to commit to the super chat. I appreciate every single super chat and donation. It goes right back to the channel. I try and improve this channel. I try and put a lot of time and effort into it. And really, there's one best way I can do that. If it gets monetized and when these things happen. And look, equipment breaks and there's subscriptions I need to pay for, the Adobe Creative Cloud. You don't need to know all that, but I just want to make the point. I really appreciate everybody who decides to jump in on the super chat or become a member or do anything like that to support the channel. I will talk to you no matter what. I'll keep making videos for you no matter what, but it really warms my heart when I see some of this come back like this. So, Prapa, I appreciate this. Hey, Brody, NFL indoor stadium trend is worrying. Cold weather games are a big part of the sport. I get hosting year-round events, but having the league be just a bunch of Allegiant stadiums would suck. Prapa, that is a great comment. That's a great topic of conversation. You're seeing the Chicago Bears move out to the suburbs. You're seeing the Cleveland Browns move out to the suburbs. You're seeing the Denver Broncos move actually a little bit closer to downtown, or at least on the other side of the freeway, closer to downtown. But they also want an indoor stadium. Actually, I think in Denver, to be fair, they want to do a retractable roof stadium. But it is interesting, right, that all of these cold weather markets, these teams with historic outdoor backgrounds, and some of the memorable freezing cold games that they've ever played, maybe they had a huge home field advantage in those situations, that they want to get away from that. And the number one reason they want to get away from that has nothing to do with football. It has everything to do with hosting a Taylor Swift concert. And I don't mean specifically just that, but I mean like in Denver, for example. If you want to host the Final Four, you've got Ball Arena, former Pepsi Center, seats 18, 19,000, home of the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche. But the point is, like, if you want to jam-pack 75,000 into an indoor stadium and play a basketball game there, you can't do that right now outdoors at Empower Field. Like, you cannot do that in the middle of springtime. But if you've got a dome, you can do that. And so I think it's interesting, right, that these football teams are realizing, number one, They want to own the stadium, or at least they want to own the real estate surrounding the stadium, and they want to have a roof over their heads so that they can be a year-round entertainment venue. And actually, though, if you think about it, to truly get the value out of the stadium, and if you are going to host events there year-round, if you are going to make it a 12-month, 365-day thing, I mean, it does make more sense. But it totally changes the dynamic of being the Denver Broncos and playing a game in late December or early January when it could be in the middle of a snowstorm. We've seen that. Same thing in Chicago, same thing with the Cleveland Browns. So I understand the trend. Not here to say that I love that trend, but I understand why teams are moving in that direction. And I don't favor playing, here's the other part about it. It's just the home field advantage. If you had one because of the cold, that goes away. But now you're playing on another turf field. How many turf fields do we want in the NFL? And even the ones that are grass and they get to exist because of that translucent roof, like that's going to be the trend entirely. Like Allegiant Stadium, or even in Arizona, how they bring the field out on a tray, they leave it outside, then they push it right back in the stadium for games. I get it. They're trying to do real grass indoors. If it works, tremendous for them. I still feel like that's cheating the system. But the number one thing I don't want to do is have everybody go indoors and have everybody play on turf. We've seen it documented, way too many football injuries because of turf. Let's get turf out of here. So those are my thoughts. I agree. If we're going to do the cookie cutter thing, and by the way, the designer of Allegiant Stadium, I think it's Manica, is the same designer of what the Chicago Bears are doing. And if you see the side-by-side renderings of the last internal views of the stadium, it's like a carbon copy. You look at the end zone, big window, big open space, two big screens on both, the way that the upper decks are, the way that the roof structure is, there's like no originality between the Chicago renderings and what exists in Las Vegas. So I'm not a big fan of that. I think this is something that's probably not best for football fans, but I understand it for citizens of these respective places that maybe they're getting something that benefits them more over the course of a calendar year. All right, let's move on here. Angel or Angel from the DR. Happy to see you're doing a direct again. Yeah, you know what? Like I said, I haven't live streamed, I think, since the month of May, and it's almost October. It's been a long time coming. You're welcome for the stream. I like your hat, by the way, in the avatar. Relentless 41. Ed is somewhere where it's afternoon. Let me see if I can just fast forward here to another one of these super chats here. I see one. Let me get to it. All right. Angel, thank you very much for the super chat. From the DR, let's imagine that you were never a fan of the NHL. Do you think the league is doing a good job at marketing the league? And what team would you follow in this situation? Clearly, I would follow the San Jose Sharks. I love California. I love the color teal. Am I selling you on this yet? I don't know about following what team, and probably geography is a huge factor there of where I am and who my team might be. If I were never a fan of the NHL, do I think the league is doing a good job at marketing the league? I think they're doing the best they can. You have to understand that in certain markets across North America and across the world, you don't need to sell hockey in Canada. Like, it is number one up there, unquestioned. And in a lot of markets here in the United States, especially East Coast, Philly, Boston, Mid-Atlantic, Chicago, it's very popular. Those are traditional hockey cities. I'll throw St. Louis in there too. I think the league has been doing the best they can to try and market the game and the sport and the teams and the players in non-traditional markets. And it's not easy. That's an uphill battle. It takes, honestly, decades to really ingrain yourself in culture and to get that deep. So I guess the point is, yes, I do think they're doing a good job, but I understand anybody who thinks they can't see it really happening as quickly. It's only because it's difficult and it takes time. I do think the NHL could do a little bit better in having their players be more personable, but then again, you can't change people. A lot of the league's best players are straightforward. They're, front-facing wise, they're very simple. They don't have a ton of swag and personality. That's not something that's really valued in the hockey community. You can be yourself, you can be your own person, but it's not like other sports, basketball, baseball, football, where there are some characters. Hockey doesn't really have truly the same type and amount of characters just in the game, and you can't force that. So I think the NHL could do just a little bit better job promoting its biggest personalities in those non-traditional markets, but overall, I think they're doing a good job. DMP just throwing in $1 to the super chat. Nothing to say, but hey, you know what? I really do appreciate it. David, exclusive access for 10 months. Really do appreciate you being here on the members only section. My Super Bowl halftime pick for the show this year, I've made a video about this and I'll say it again. Taylor Swift. And my wife scared me yesterday, actually. She walked in the room and she's scrolling her phone. She goes, oh, did Adele get named the halftime performer of the Super Bowl? And I'm like, whoa, wait a second. What? And that news story, like there was some speculation, but it popped up. She's like, yeah, a friend sent it to me. I'm like, well, that doesn't mean it's necessarily true. Nothing against Adele. Look, how do I put this? If you're the Super Bowl and you want the sign of the times, like in 1993, Michael Jackson was the thing. And so in Pasadena, for the first time, they replaced marching bands with, Michael Jackson. That's what you did in 1993. We're here in 25. It's about to be 26. Taylor Swift just came off like a 3-year tour, 2.5, 2, whatever. She's got a new album coming out, I think, next week, by the way. All of this is lining up. Now, you got to separate it from Travis Kelce, the engagement. I get it. I totally understand. And there's already that crossover, which some people love, some people couldn't care less, and some people despise. My point is, who's bigger than Taylor Swift right now? If you love her, if you hate her, whatever, who's bigger than Taylor Swift? If you want to go big and you want somebody with the catalog of music that can do, like a 13-minute halftime show, but I mean, she can go 3 hours like she did in concert. That's the point. This times out to where, quite honestly, she couldn't do it really last year, just jumped off tour. Didn't make sense. This makes sense. Okay? From a traction standpoint, from a popularity standpoint, from a business standpoint, but just from a logistical standpoint. So I'm not telling you, it could be anybody else. And Roger Goodell's already said it's possible. Clearly, they've been talking. I don't think there's any denying that. Maybe it's Adele, though. I don't know. I just feel like if it's anybody else rather than Taylor Swift, that's going to be a letdown. And I do think she's got the right music to get up there and rock a halftime show. I don't know that all the albums are conducive, and I don't know that we're going to be slowing it down, and maybe for one song, just to kind of change the pace. And I think the new album is fun, and it's going to reflect the exact kind of show that she'd want to put on. So Taylor Swift, Swizzle is my pick. David, thank you for bringing that up. Windy City Hockey. Hey, Brody, the Blackhawks and the Sharks rebuilds are in about the same position. But are they, Windy City? Do you feel they could be the next great rivalry in the NHL? I would throw Detroit in that conversation. I think Anaheim's also in that same situation of where they're at in rebuilding. I just feel like, and I know you're representing Chicago, and I work for the Sharks, right? So I get it. We're opposing here, and I'm not trying to tell you you're wrong. Yes, they're both rebuilding. I really like where the Sharks are at in the rebuild, and I would admire that even if I had nothing to do with them. I think Chicago's in a spot where they've got Bedard, and they're starting the pipeline, but I don't know if they're as far along, and I don't know if they're going as fast as San Jose is in the process. I would also say that, look at Connor Bedard's body language from last year. I think there was some frustration, and the Sharks had a worse record in the end. Sharks had a worse record in the end than Chicago did. And you saw Will and Macklin smiling at the end of the year. And I don't know, I feel like the core in San Jose is a little bit better surrounded. But to answer your question, yeah, you know what? I think it would be really cool that, the NHL is a bit cyclical. And Chicago and the Sharks were once in the 2010 Western Final. And they were at the top of the mountain for a lot of respective years. And now we've seen them kind of go through the struggles for quite some time and get some high draft picks and get the next future of their respective franchises. So, yes, I do feel like they could be one of the great rivalries in the NHL. Certainly not in the same division, so that makes it different. But I do think you're going to start looking at the ascent of certain teams and realize, okay, these several teams, they've gone through it, they're trending back up, and they are bound to be the future. And as much as I think the Sharks are in that category and some other teams might be in that category, I definitely think Chicago is too. Thank you very much for that super chat. I do appreciate it. Renee, love the shows. At what point will cities start pushing back on teams over building stadiums with their dollars? I think that whole conversation is not even in the initial phases anymore. I think cities and counties realize what's going to be pitched to them. Like, hey, either you build us a new stadium or we're leaving in a lot of occasions. But at the same respect, I do want to say that one thing I'm more aware of now than ever is that if we're talking about like a city-owned building or a county-owned stadium or something that the general public is dramatically going to benefit from over the course of 30, 40, 50 years, at some point, right? So long as the deal makes sense. Like, I don't want a city or a county to get fleeced. So long as the deal makes sense, you've got to be a willing participant in putting some money into this and creating the jobs. And it's not even just the camaraderie, and it's not just the good vibes that come with your city having a professional sports team or whatever, but it does something for you financially to a certain extent. Am I saying cities and counties pay for the whole thing? No, I'm not. I am saying there is a happy medium of where cities can put in something and counties can put in something, or they can adjust the tax district of the stadium and the arena that make money to help pay for itself. If you can pull that off, great for you. And then you get a brand new stadium, you get happy people, you get to bring conventions and games and events to your locale. Like, do it. Look at Santa Clara, California. How many times would you ever come to Santa Clara, California if it weren't for the 49ers being there? Now, I understand the breakdown of who paid for what in the stadium. There's still a lot of debate there, but the truth is this. The Super Bowl is coming to Santa Clara for a second time in a decade this upcoming new year in 2026. So my point is there's already been pushback. Like the lines have been drawn in the sand, and cities and counties, they're aware of what's going to be asked of them. But sometimes you also have to be ready to say, well, what can we do to at least try and be a good partner, a good teammate in this, and try and get something back for ourselves? It can benefit everybody. It really can. Let's see here. The Sports Boffin, thoughts on La Liga wanting to play games in the USA? See, that's interesting, right? Because a lot of times we're here talking about, will the NBA expand overseas? Will the NFL, right? Maybe our biggest export is football in the NFL. Will the NFL go play games overseas? Interesting now that some of the European leagues, or maybe even a team from South America, a league from South America or Mexico might consider, hey, let's play some regular season games in the United States. I wonder if, how do I say this? I wonder if America responds to foreign leagues as well as foreign places respond to an American league going there. I think that like, for example, if you bring baseball to Europe, or like when you bring hockey overseas, I think Europeans in different markets, I think they accept it better than Americans do. Is that fair? And is that a knock against Americans? Maybe, because we feel like, oh, this isn't ours, so we're not as interested in it. Whereas maybe, citizens from around the globe, they're more accepting, or like willing to like be a fan or get into this. I don't know. So my thoughts are, I don't know, like a La Liga match or matches or series or whatever would be played. Would that get the same ratings as like a college football game? I don't know. People should go crazy for something like that, but I don't know if they would here versus the other way around, if that makes sense. All right, let me see here. I saw some more super chats that I'm pretty sure I missed, and I absolutely hate when that happens because somebody went through the process to send a super chat, and then I may have missed it. So let me take a quick scroll here to Oh, there we go. DMP did get in on the super chat. Love the content. Time to update the aviation channel. Go Tampa Bay. DMP, I appreciate that. Had the aviation channel for a while, had the Home Studio Pro channel, and they've kind of gone silent because I've worked so hard on this channel. And oh yeah, I also have an actual real job, which I need to get back to later today, by the way. But the point being, I appreciate you finding those channels, and here's actually something I want to say almost a little bit in a bonus way. So the channel here is sitting on, I don't know, 80-something thousand subscribers, 86 somewhere, 87, I don't know. One of the things that I've been thinking about lately is getting to 100,000 and what would I do when we get there? Like, it's not a matter of if anymore, it's only a matter of when. And you know what? Whenever it happens, great. But when that happens, I'm thinking about starting a second channel. I'm thinking about starting a second channel. There's a lot of videos that I would want to do that, I mean, look, I don't want to get into every world event, certainly not into politics. There's a lot of things that I'm still not going that deep. Other people, they like the second channel to go rogue or whatever. And see, I feel like I'm pretty straightforward on what I'm doing here already, but I do feel like I made a Pokemon video recently. My son wanted to do that. That's perfect second channel material. My wife and I watch a lot of TV shows. We watch TV series at night, like one episode per night. Like, for example, right now we're on the latest season 5 of Only Murders in the Building. I thought it'd be cool to have a chat with my wife about, after we finish this season, no spoilers, but wrap up the show or do some travel videos or a lot of different things that are off topic of sports, but I don't really have a great way and a place to put them on the channel as it exists right now. So I guess the point is I am thinking about doing a second channel when we get to 100,000. I think what I would do is launch the channel before that, let you know it's there, try and get the subscribers up, and then start to make some videos maybe as we get to 100,000. So if you're in the chat, let me know what you think about that. I would love some feedback on that. I will just try and make it entertaining. And the frequency of those videos, maybe once or twice a week. It's not going to be the daily thing here or the twice a day thing here like on the main channel, because the main channel is not tapering down. I'm not going to slow this down to do something else. I'm only going to do that in addition when I have the time. And the videos may not be as great, but that's fine. They're on the second channel. They won't mess up the algorithm here on this channel. All right, here. Let me see here. BJB, I really want Jelly Roll to do the Super Bowl. But look, I get it. There's a bunch of other names and talented acts and people that could do a fantastic halftime show. I'm just saying it's not often that the time comes when there's a clearest, like, biggest fish in the pond, right? And there kind of is right now. And if you don't do Taylor Swift, you're not going all the way for it. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. There's some other good ones. El Chaso. Here's Brody Brazil. That's pretty good, right? That's we'll talk more about the voice guy a little bit later on. All right, here we've got that super chat. Let me see here. Oakland legend? Question mark? Exclamation point? Mark Cana is the avatar. I love that. 2 channels sounds like a great idea to help streamline your content for what your audience may be looking for too. I absolutely agree. Look, I just want it to be, I want it to be worthy of you subscribing to, but I realize it may not be for everyone and not all the videos are going to hit. So it'll be more of a passion project than anything else, but hopefully a little bit of a reward too, because I do get people saying, I wish you'd comment on this or that. I'd love to. I just don't know that it always fits here on this specific channel. Morning. It's 3 p.m., my dude. Where are you? Oh, 11, 12, 1, 2. Where are you where it's 3 p.m.? Must be South America, maybe? Try to think of where the time, because like 3 p.m. feels like in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. It's 2:15 on the East Coast. So where are you? Any special plans for the World Cup next year? No, but if I can get to a match, I would love to. I realize it's a hard process to even thoughts and ideas of, whoops, close this back here. I might do some thoughts of leading up to it in terms of what the event is and how much of an undertaking it is and like what's the benefits. I'm curious to see what the attendance is like, not to mention how Team USA is going to do. Did you know, chat? Only 1/3 of viewers smash the like button. Samuel, thank you for reminding me to remind everybody else. Definitely hit that like button. World Cup, yeah, it's coming to Levi's this summer. So right in my backyard, no reason that I shouldn't check it out. Tanner asking, how much longer do you think Gary Bettman will stay on as NHL commissioner? And you know what? It is interesting right now that Gary Bettman of the NHL, and Rob Manfred of Major League Baseball are, basically at the twilight of their tenure as commissioners. And I know for Manfred, he's already said basically at 28 or so is when he'll be stepping down. I think the biggest difference, though, if you really look at it, Gary Bettman and the NHL are cooking right now. You've got the salary cap going up. You've got teams making money. You've got team valuations looking great. You've got a competitive league. You've got a league that could expand like right now. And I don't just mean expand, because you're going to make more money and have more teams and the business is going to be better. I'm saying like there's a demand for hockey. You've got such a talent pool for the NHL. You've got players in Europe and across the world that are getting better. So you've got more players to choose from. You can take the league from 30 like it was to 32 like it is now to 34 and 36. I think no problem. So I think Gary Bettman's in a spot where, I don't know, do you want to like you've gone through some hard years. You just got a new CBA done with the players more than a year ahead of its expiration, right? Like you are cooking. Do you really want to bow out now? Or do you want to ride a few more years and feel like you deserve this? Because like I said, the NHL missed a whole season in my life, right? And missed a whole half a season within the last 15 years. Was that 2012, I think? So the point is, why not milk it a little bit longer if you're Gary Bettman? I feel like at this point, he deserves it, right? He can last a little bit longer. By the way, when he gets booed, it's a tradition. I get it. But there are some times where nothing bad has even happened to the league or he has done nothing bad that you can remember in recent years. All right, if you want to talk about whatever, handful of years ago, I get it. You've been around long enough, you're going to do some things. But I'm like, what do we do? Is this a sport? Yes, that's basically what it is. I think he knows that too. He's a good sport about it. All right, here. Jared wants a flying channel, flying high with Brody. David saying, big SF Giants fan. Time to axe Bob Melvin. Can't make big moves for Devers, Adames, etc. and collapse like this. Time for Buster to bring in his guy. Thoughts? David, let me first say, I had anticipated doing a little bit more Giants coverage here on the YouTube channel this summer. This is my first summer in a long time, having an off season. I was doing work for the Sharks, but not covering baseball games every night, day and night and weekend like I had been for 15 straight years. I never got around to it. What I want to tell you here is I'm interested in the Giants. I'm very much paying attention to this season. I have been for years, but it's an interesting study. Like this team, no matter who their president is, who their general manager is, who their field manager is, who their star players are, in the last 4 years, like they are so cemented in and around the 500 mark, it's scary. And there's a lot of teams out there who would be happy to be 500 and then move forward past that. It's a stepping stone. But this is like a step that the Giants just can't take the next step from. They can't get to better than 500. So what's going on there? Is it a player thing currently? Is it a pipeline thing? Is it how you're acquiring your players? Is it the ballpark? It's too much of a pitcher's park, especially at night in the summertime. I think the answer is not to make rushed decisions right now. Buster Posey just jumped into this as president of baseball operations. Bob Melvin's been a field manager for a very long time. I will also say that here at the end of September 2025, after the season they've been through, some highs, some lows, a few more highs, and then a lot of lows here at the end, like they basically just ran out of gas to get disqualified from the playoffs like they were the other night. Would they lose like 9 of 10, 9 of 11, something like that? you got to let the dust settle. Give everybody a week or two here at the end of the season. Let's reevaluate. Let's reassess. Make sure Bomel wants to do this. I think he's got a year left on his contract, but Buster just came in. When you say bring in his guy, who's Buster's guy? Is it Bruce Bochy? And does that work? And then is Boch really, how does that work? How do you get him? How long do you think he can realistically go for? I hope that he can last many more years on Earth, but also like the rigors of being a Major League Baseball field manager. It takes a toll on you at any age. So I think if I reassess this in the Giants' perspective, they've done some things. Devers was huge. Adames was huge. Probably want to build on some more pieces. It takes a while for any GM or president to put their stamp on an organization. I don't know that you want to be too drastic here from year 1 to year 2 with Buster. Maybe after next year, okay, we could talk about some of these things. I would just not rush to that quite yet. No rumor is Bochy is retiring. Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, like when you say Buster's guy. Now, there could be plenty other of Buster's guys, but what experience do they come with? Who else did he play for in his career for the longest time that he'd want to bring back, right? Or who else in the game does he respect? Like, he could have some sleepers that you didn't know about. I just don't know. Hunter Pence would be great, brings the energy and relates to the young guys. Yes, David, I agree. But do you really want a president of baseball operations who never did the job before and has been doing it for 1 year? And now a manager who, Hunter Pence, has never managed, as far as I know, any baseball team at any level ever, right? So do you really want to be that experienced in your front office and on the field? Now, you could be surrounded by great coaches and a great front office staff. I get all that. I totally understand that. I don't think you want to jump into that level of inexperience. Nicholas loves this channel for hockey news. I appreciate that. JF, John Fisher, is that you? What does Brody Brazil listen to for music? A little bit of everything. Honestly, if you saw my playlist, you'd be like, what? Who is this guy? You would not be able to pin down anything about me probably by looking at my playlist. I would say that I generally lean on electronic music. Do we still call it EDM? And I know maybe EDM was more of a 2010s thing, and here we are in almost 2026, but that's kind of where I'm at. Electronic music is what I'm listening to when I'm working out. But always liked rap and hip hop growing up. Rock, Linkin Park, definitely one of my favorites. I also like Train. Yeah, I like the band Train. Pat Monahan has one of the best singing voices ever. So I'm literally all over the place. Kenneth wondering, do you really see MLB expanding in the next 5 years? So let's think about next year. So here's year one. It's next year. All they have to do is worry about, is there going to be a lockout or not? Let's say that there is a lockout. Then you're a half season of that, hypothetically. Now you're 1.5 years. Then you got to play another half season. You finally have it worked out. So now you're 2 years into 5 years. And then to even announce expansion, that's not going to happen for another 2 years. Even if you announce it like tomorrow, it's not happening until 2028. So if you're asking me, do I see an expansion team in the next 5 years? Basically, absolutely not. But could something get announced hypothetically in 2027, 2028, if they get all this resolved? Then possibly. But they've got a lot to figure out. It's not just the salary cap thing. It's not just the competitive imbalance thing. It's the media deals. It's like the ESPN backing out of their contract with you type situation. How do you figure out the future of this so that every team is getting something out of their TV deal? I mean, literally within the last couple of years, a lot of major league teams and their regional sports network partners, like the RSNs, have had to step away and renegotiate a new deal for a lot less money so that they're paying the teams a lot less money. And that's the only deal the teams can get. They're losing $30, $50 million every single year on the TV contracts they used to have versus what they don't have right now. They've got to figure out a way for Major League Baseball and its teams to get back to some type of organization and orchestration of streaming or TV deals or whatever, because it's not really going great in that direction right now. Sports Boffin. Hey, I appreciate the £2. Thank you so much. Thoughts on the USA hosting the 2031 Rugby World Cup? I'm going to be honest, Boffin. Is that happening? I don't even know. Look, I'm still in the 2020s. I did make a video recently. I will say this about the United States. If I'm being critical of this country and our culture, it's that we are stuck on the Big Four. And really, we're in love with football. Basketball super popular. Baseball kind of seems to be descending, while hockey is ascending. But 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. And people watch golf here. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people waking up super early tomorrow to watch the Ryder Cup. Love it. A lot of NASCAR fans. Some F1 fans. MLS. I didn't even mention MLS. It's just, for other sports like rugby, it's going to be a really hard conversation to crack here in the United States. And even if it's just a World Cup event, I don't know that it's going to be the turning point of like rugby in the United States by having something like that there. That's all I can say. And I don't mean to be negative. I'm honestly just trying to be as straightforward as I can. Here's a good one. Brody, what is your favorite NBA arena? Gosh, I have not been to a lot of them, actually. I will say, though, and the one that used to be an NBA arena that should be again soon is the former Key Arena in Seattle. It's now the Climate Pledge Arena, home of the Seattle Kraken and future home again of the Seattle Supersonics. I guess I've been to a lot of NBA arenas because I've been to the hockey arena in Denver, in Chicago, in Dallas, in Los Angeles, Madison Square Garden. You know what? I have been to a lot of these. I take it back. Been to more than I realized. But I love Seattle. I love the setup. I love that the Space Needle is right there outside Climate Pledge Arena. You can be downtown Seattle. Take the monorail. How cool is that? They have a monorail, just 2 stops. You get on one stop downtown, takes you right to Seattle Center. Seattle Center is the expo grounds where I think they had like the World's Fair of the 1950s or 60s. It's an awesome space. Not hotels, but restaurants near there, a lot of open space. Seattle is a great layout and setup for an NBA arena. They just got to get the team back. Simple as that. All right, I do see some more super chats here. Let me make sure I get to that. Mr. Mike 95. Hey, Brody. Love your content. Mr. Mike, I love the fact that you're here. Loving it. Watching from Whalers country. Can you explain to the nostalgic hockey fans why Hartford is not going to be the next expansion team? We can't even fill the XL Center. It's interesting because if you're in Hartford or if you're in Quebec City, you're looking at Atlanta saying, wait, you're going to get a third chance? You're looking at Houston saying, well, I get it. You're a big market, but how did you get to cut in line? And if you're in Phoenix, you're like, wait a second. It wasn't our fault that we lost our team. And why shouldn't we be tops on the list, maybe compared to Atlanta? Hartford, too. Now, Hartford, different scenario here, Mr. Mike. I don't want to be cruel in saying this, but if you just look at media market size, when the Whalers became a team, it was just different times. And the geography of the NHL was different, and the landscape of the league was different. Their objectives were different. It's one of those situations that, quite honestly, we translate it to real life. The Oakland A's were like this too. When they came from Kansas City to Oakland in the late 60s, there's kind of the thought and the feeling that if this team ever leaves, they'll never be replaced. This is your one shot at it. You're maybe big enough to do this, and Oakland was big enough. It's almost like the Sacramento Kings of the NBA, who also almost moved to SoCal or Seattle, or even like Virginia Beach, I think was a possibility. But if Sacramento lost its NBA team, I don't think the NBA would ever be going back to Sacramento. I feel like it's the same thing with Hartford and the Whalers. And by the way, when Carolina wears the Whalers sweaters and colors, I almost feel offended, and I have no horse in that race. It's hard to watch. Like you literally took the team and now you're honoring them, but you're also rubbing it in the faces of Hartford fans. So again, I just think it's a market size. I don't think it's not a question of, is this hockey country? Are there good fans here? That's not it. If you're trying to run a business, if you're trying to get ratings, if you're trying to do all the things that a successful NHL team needs to fill seats and have sponsors and all that stuff, I just don't know that Hartford, like it was a spot. And I don't know that it will ever be a spot again, simply because of demographics. So, Mr. Mike, hopefully I got to that in the best way possible. SGA Sports Talk on the Super Chat. Love the content. You're the GOAT. Hey, thank you. Bah. I appreciate that. No, I know what you meant. I do appreciate that. BHND Damask. I'm spelling out letters here, let's be honest. What is your thought on the NHL playing neutral site preseason games? Many years ago, the Sharks played a preseason game in Stockton. Well, guess what? They also played one in Stockholm. I was there in Sweden. I thought that's what you were saying at first. The Kings and Ducks played in Ontario this week. I love it. I will say this too. Do you know that the NHL is expanding next year in the regular season? That's right. They're going from 82 to 84 games. Now, the last time they did this was in the early 90s. And do you know what they did for all those teams in those extra 2 games? They had them each select a market, which was not their own, and go play games somewhere else. Was it Sacramento for the Sharks? Man, I was just a kid, and I do remember they played some games there. Was that regular season, though, or preseason? My point is, what if part of this deal of going from 82 to 84 meant that, hey, you're still going to get all of your 82 games like normal, but what we want you to do is test our game and grow our game outside of your market. Pick another market that's nearby that can support your team. Like, don't go to a rink where you're going to have problems. And by the way, the logistics of this are terrible. Yeah. Got to go find and rent an arena a year ahead of time and I don't know that any of this is, certainly don't know. This is all in my brain, right? This is coming from nowhere else than right here, right now. But hypothetically, it could happen that way, where the push is, and maybe even if it doesn't happen next year, three years from now, take 2 games and try somewhere else. So my point is, I like the league growing. I like them playing games in other places, so long as the arena setup works, so long as it's a place that makes sense and it's set up for success. To try and jam games in preseason or regular season elsewhere, that doesn't benefit everybody or anybody. So if they are in sites that make sense, where a market could be enticed, then that's great. I don't know that the players mind it terribly. If you're the home team and you'd rather just be sleeping in your bed that night, then yeah, it's not optimal. But if everybody's doing it, then it's just part of the whole situation. So definitely not against it, so long as you use it the right way. Some idiot. No, you're not. You have a great question here. Thoughts on flag football in the Olympics? 2 things about this. Number 1, we all know that next spring in Saudi Arabia, Tom Brady and Fanatics and Fox and some other groups, they are doing a flag football round robin style tournament. 3 teams, and gosh, on the 49ers, Christian McCaffrey's going out there. George Kittle is going out there. Kyle Shanahan, their coach, is going out there. Anyway, it's kind of a warm-up for NFL players to do something in the flag football realm. Now, this will be in 2026. The Olympics in LA are going to happen in 2028. So here's my question. Does the NFL, and they've never really had to worry about players going to do something else in the offseason or potentially getting hurt by exerting themselves, this flag football exhibition thing, before anything else, like, what speed are they going at? Is it going to be super competitive? Because if they're just going to run through the motions, people won't watch. So I think they want people to watch. They have to put on some type of athletic exhibition. Excuse me. But the point is, if you exert yourself, there's not a 0% chance that you don't get hurt. So, or 0% chance that you do get hurt. So the point is, are they going to take this seriously? And then what happens in the Olympics? You don't want to have an Olympic sport where you've got the USA versus everybody else. And by the way, there should be some other countries because football has players with roots from all over the place. So you would hope that it would be more of a diverse showing than just Team USA and then everybody else. But if they're going to go full speed, there's a chance somebody gets hurt. The league won't like that. Turf toe, ACL, MCL, PCL, UCL if you're a quarterback, I guess. Two people running into each other without a helmet on. It can happen even in flag football. So I just think there's a lot to figure out from the NFL side of this. My thoughts are mainly this. How serious is anybody going to take this from the player perspective? That's my number one main thought. All right, let's see what else we've got here. Anybody in the super chat? I try to get to those first. The Boffin. You know what? The Sports Boffin, you are baffling me right now. FIFA Club World Cup. I did not pay any attention to it. I'm sorry. I want to point out too, like my bandwidth for sports, it has its limits in terms of all the different things I can pay attention to, the things that I need to be an expert at, things that I need to know all the nuances of. So it's hard for me to, on the spot, like respond to that. And I know most people are like, well, you're a sports guy. You should be paying attention to all of that. Are you kidding me? All the leagues in all the countries across the world? I possibly can't. And now I feel bad because Boffin just hit me with 2 pounds and I got nothing for you, Boffin. You've been so loyal. I'm sorry. Please accept my apology. Oh, McCaffrey and Kittle get hurt if you breathe on them wrong. Well, it does kind of feel that way for the 49ers in the last couple of years. Stanley Cup 2026 winner prediction. Here are your San Jose Sharks. You know what? How about this? I'll predict that the Sharks don't win the Stanley Cup in 2026, and I would love to be wrong. Right? I would love to be wrong. Here's the thing about this, RD. Let me try and give you something serious. Anybody who picks a Stanley Cup winner in September or October, they're just making an educated guess. Think about all the things that are bound to happen in the next 5, 6, 7 months. Injuries, trades, performance, meeting expectations or being above or below expectations. All of that factors in. Luck. How about just pure luck? Bounces of the puck, the schedule, all that stuff. For anybody to give you a realistic answer and think that it's more than just fun is wrong. So I don't really want to be the one to do that. But I do think you could probably look at a group of teams as favorites and say, okay, they're most likely to be in the final round representing East and West, but never sleep on a Cinderella either to jump in the mix too. Okay, I see some more super chats here. I definitely want to get to those. 2021 World Series champ KJ. With all the talk on expansion, when do you realistically think all the leagues will expand? As an Atlanta dude, I'm most interested in the NHL to Atlanta. Well, KJ, you have probably recently seen Bill Daly and the NHL come out to say that they need more of a finite proposal from Atlanta. But they also have 2 groups in Atlanta. Honestly, I feel like one of the biggest challenges with Atlanta is not actually does the league want to go there or not. You've got 2 competing groups, and the league's going to have to kind of make a decision to edge one way or the other on who to go with. And I think they want to give both groups the right time and space. I think the NHL is probably going to go 2 at a time here. In my opinion, 32 now, 34 is next, or at least the idea of how to get to 34, with a deeper thought way back of the brain of how to get to 36. You're asking about all the leagues. Let me get to that in a second. If you ask me right now about the NHL, Atlanta and Houston are probably front runners. Phoenix, in my opinion, you have to give them another chance with the right owner. And you saw Shane Doan's wife kind of take charge of the chair position of that group. I don't know if they have an official name, by the way, but Andrea Doan is the chairperson of that group that's trying to get investors and an arena lined up and then take it back to the NHL. And I think the fourth city, so Atlanta, Houston, Phoenix, I've said Kansas City before. I think I could throw Indianapolis in the same mix, but maybe a team in that vicinity. That's my thoughts, just my random thoughts, my thoughts alone on the brain about expansion. When will all the leagues expand? I think football and hockey right now can do it. I think the NBA should definitely do it. They just got their media rights deal squared away. You know where you're going to go. You're going to go to Seattle. You're going to go to Las Vegas, NBA. Just do it. What are you waiting for? I understand, though, that the group in Las Vegas, here's the timing part of it. They had the Oakview group. They had a site. They had an arena south of the Strip. Oakview Group has done this before. Then they had some other legal troubles with the situation down in Texas. More on that another time. The Oakview Group basically dissolved its ability to put together a Las Vegas arena. So the NBA's like, ooh, good thing we didn't push the button on that, because it would have flopped. Would have had some serious problems. I think the NBA is waiting for kind of the same thing in Las Vegas to come through. What's the finite plan, proposal? How do we do this? As soon as they have that, and then I think they've got some things orchestrated up in Seattle, that's a slam dunk. Those are the two markets you want to be in. So I think basketball's got it the easiest. I don't know if they're going to go first. Football, the one I'll just say is last, honestly, is baseball. They've got the TV thing to worry about and the salary cap thing to worry about, and I just don't think they're there yet. I've probably said that a few times here on the live stream. If you've been watching for the full, I don't know if I've been on for an hour or so. Been on for about an hour. I've said that a lot, but I truly believe that for baseball. Like, they've got some issues. They really do that they've got to work out, and I hope they do. AFBOCC. The Detroit Tigers have fallen off the cliff. You know what? Some teams at this point in the season, they just run out of gas. 162 is a lot of games. Oh, what's that? It's too many games, right? But that's what you play, and that's kind of part of the nature of it, right? It's survival of the fittest, and it's about playing the long game a lot of times. And it's frustrating to know that a certain team had a run, and they were so good. June, July, and then into August, the wheels fell off. I've covered a lot of seasons just like that. Totally understand. It's actually easier to digest when the wheels fall off around the All-Star break, because that does happen too. It is so frustrating to see that you put in months of effort, and the guys that you relied on all season long to do the job, they've done it so well, and in the end, they either get hurt or they're just not performing to the clip that they were before. And so I totally understand that. It is not fun. Absolutely not fun to be in that spot as a fan base. NFL expansion in the UK and Europe likely? I think, now, Boffin, you got me on a good one here, because I think the answer to that is yes. Likely, yes. Soon, I don't know. I do think the NFL, more than any other league, is enticed by, let's go overseas. We're big enough. We're bold enough. We could do this on a gigantic level overseas. The time zone is an issue, right? Especially if you're playing as many basketball or hockey games as they do in the NHL and NBA. But the NFL only has to worry about one game a week. You can work out the travel thing. You can work out the time difference thing a lot better. That's not great from a TV audience perspective, although you could play a night game in Europe and it could be on in the morning on the West Coast. People would still watch it. It could work out just fine. Like, you could make that work like once a week if you had two European teams out there. So if you're asking me if it's likely, like it's going to happen, I think it will in our lifetimes. I also think that as soon as they announce a team, hypothetically, in London, they'll also announce that a Super Bowl, which, crazy enough to Americans, like, they don't want to hear this, a Super Bowl is coming to London as soon as there's a team in London. Hard to do now because there's a lot of stadiums debuting soon in the NFL or recent ones, and so they've got to line those up. They've got to give Super Bowls to those places first, but I do think that's all going to happen in our lifetime. Slimmer. The Texans are falling down right now. By the way, how do I put this? I've paid so much attention to the NFL, not just last year, but this year too, in playing fantasy. So I'm paying more attention to players, but how their teams are doing, but obviously how my fantasy team is doing. It's also interesting, like on the flip side of like the Texans, the 49ers are 3-0. And they've won all 3 games basically on the last drive. 2 games, it was a defensive stop or a turnover that they won the game on. And then last week, it was on a field goal made by a kicker that they just brought in. It's not Jake Moody anymore. So they feel almost like guilty about being 3-0. It's interesting this early in the year. If you haven't had success and you should, how you feel versus if you have had success and you're like, oh, we shouldn't be winning all these games. All the different guilty feelings that you might feel. Hang on, my wife is texting me. Oh, that's nice. She just sent me a nice message out of nowhere. I doubt that she's watching this, which is good. That's a smart decision by her. Who had the under 0.5 rainout games in Tampa this year? FL, Florida Loon News. Is that what it is? You know what? Now, partially because the Rays played such a home-heavy first half of the schedule and a road-heavy second half of the schedule. I would also say, too, now this is something that I talked about at length here on the YouTube channel going into the baseball season. 2 things. It's going to rain a lot in Tampa outdoors, and the Rays are going to struggle through that, and they really didn't. And also, it's going to be super hot up in Sacramento where the A's are going to be playing the next 3 seasons. And you know what? Here in Northern California, we had a super mild summer. Like, we're having a hotter September than we had even of a June or July, if I'm being honest, or even August. So, to your point, got lucky. Rays got lucky. And you know what? Even more important than the lack of rainouts that they had, and they had some rain issues, but you're right, not suspended games or canceled games. Well, suspended games, yes, but not canceled games. The number one thing I hope for with Rays and the weather is that the next couple months does not impact the roof going back on at Tropicana Field. That's more important to them now than anything else. Yeah, the baseball season, rainouts or not, whatever, you'll get past that. You'll figure that out. But you got to get a roof back on that place, and you got to be playing baseball games there with the new ownership group starting next year. The Oakland thing, the Sacramento thing, it just wasn't hot. But I will say that if next summer is like most summers, and we saw bad attendance in Sacramento this year, regardless of the weather, more about the team and their lack of marketing. But man, you're going to see some super small crowds during heat waves up in Sacramento. It's just Mother Nature played out that way. So I agree with you. And that, you know what? Thank you for bringing up that point. I didn't expect it to happen that way, but it did. Kevin saying, since MLB runs and controls minor league baseball, do you think that Major League Baseball will lock out the minor league players in 2027 if they lock out the major league players? I don't think anybody wants that from the player side or the league side. So my understanding is that there will be no impact on minor league baseball if there is a Major League Baseball lockout. And look, those minor league teams, they still want to make money, and their players want to play. When minor league baseball shut down for 2020, right? Like it did. There were a lot of players who skipped a whole baseball season, and their development lacked, and they do not want to go back to that. Now, that was a global crisis, right? So that was a whole separate issue, but this would be out of a failed negotiation that you're not going to have a minor league season as well. Kevin, this is a great question. A lot of people have been asking about it. As far as I know, the minor leagues and their season will still be played in 27, even if the Major League Baseball season doesn't start on time, or doesn't even happen at all. Now, I don't know all the details. We're going to get in the weeds eventually on this about players that are on major league rosters versus minor league rosters, and if major league teams knew that a lockout was coming, would they dump a bunch of their younger players who they just want to keep playing baseball? Would they put them down in the minor leagues, even though they have no business and no place being in the minor leagues? It's possible. I would imagine that the minor leagues would be a pretty popular place to be. Again, you do not want to miss a major league season. Sorry, you don't want to miss a professional baseball season once you're in the minor leagues. So you don't want to miss all that. It's a great question, though. I know a lot of people are unclear on how all that plays out. Right, except the 40-man players on the MLB roster. Cal Raleigh is a shoo-in for MVP. I mean, most inspirational story. I was watching, was it Sunday when he hit one out on Sunday Night Baseball? This dude is a beast. And catching too, right? And a player who didn't just emerge in the league. He's younger, on the younger side. But like, where did this come from? It's great. It's great for baseball. It's great for Seattle. He's got some personality. I'm happy for him. Are the Chargers the best team in LA now? I mean, you know what? I saw a meme the other day about how the Chargers belong in San Diego. The Rams are the team that belong in Los Angeles. And the Raiders belong in Oakland. I'll do more on that. I'll save that for a different time, but I get it. Like the Chargers are that weird existing team that it still doesn't make sense. You didn't pay for this building. You rent here. Why are you not in San Diego? I know you're asking me about their performance and I'm going on my separate rant here, but I'm always going to feel that way about the Chargers from here on out, honestly. Silicon Sports Spectator. Did you go to the Valkyries playoff game at SAP Center? Would love your thoughts on that. I did not go there for the game that night. You know why? It was sold out. And I guess I know some people. Well, you know what? I have a key to the building. So there is that. Oh, do you hear that? You may not be able to hear it, but there's sirens in the background. There they are. Yes, I probably could have found a way in, but I had something else that night. I do not remember exactly what it was. And I worked that day, and I was actually at the arena. So I want to tell you this. I walked into the arena when they were doing that morning final setups, and I saw how it looked and the violet color. It's amazing. You walk in the tank, and you think of teal. And you think of the Sharks. And to see somebody else who had, like, put up their own banners and their colors everywhere, it's like, what alternate reality am I living in right now? But it was very cool. The violet looked great. Seeing a basketball out there always, basketball court out there always looks cool at SAP Center. I know it wasn't maybe optimal for the Valkyries to be there. But at the same point, I think it's so cool that they had the opportunity to spread their brand a little bit. I wish they would have won that game. And they were up after 3 quarters by like 14 points, I want to say, and ended up losing by the slimmest of margins. I thought, unfortunate that the tennis tournament was at Chase Center. Glad they had another home that they could go to in a split second. I know, my colleagues that work at the tank did an absolute bang-up job to make it their home, to make it feel right, to give them the proper first home playoff game ever. So I got to see the environment. I didn't get to see it in real life, but I saw what they were setting up, and I was very impressed on it. And very impressed, by the way, with the Valkyries. First year of existence, playoffs, selling out a ton of games. I know TV ratings have been good. It's interesting what a Joe Lacob owner-owned team can do. Major League Baseball, are you listening? Just saying. All right, let's see what else we got here on the chat. Eddie saying, hey, Brody, do you think hockey deserves more recognition? Yeah, depending on where you're at. Like, if you are watching north of the border, you're like, no, this is what we do. That's not even a question. In some markets south of the border, yes, I absolutely do. I think most people who have never been exposed to hockey, they just don't understand it until they've been to a game. You watch that in person, the speed, the strength, the physicality, the strategy, the skills. Hockey is definitely underrated in most markets across the United States still. Not all of them, but in most of them. Good morning from Van. Love that, Morbital. Have to run to work right now, but love seeing the live streams. Keep doing them. You know what? I said this at the very top, and if you're just tuning in, I think my last live stream was May. May of this year. We're almost in October. I've been meaning to do them. Every time there's an opportunity, it's like, well, I've got 3 or 4 videos I really want to go make, and they're timely. So I go make those videos. Versus today, I was like, you know what? And then, by the way, I'm probably only going to be here for a few more minutes. So if you got a question and you really want to get it in, jump on the super chat. I think that's how we'll do it. But today I decided, you know what? I'm actually going to do the live stream. So I would love to do more. It's a timing and an opportunity thing. I don't know about the latest Blue Jays drama, Christopher. So you'll have to fill me in on that. Not aware of what that is. All right, looking at the clock, I got 5 more minutes. Here's what else I also wanted to say. I've got the new phone number, 833-4Brody, and I was going to have it set, and I can't have it set up where you call that number and I take calls here on the live stream. You've seen me do that before. I've actually never done that with the new phone number yet, but I didn't want to do that today. I wanted to go heavy on the live chat, offer more people the chance, kind of keep it flowing more. And also I didn't want anybody who was intending to just call in and leave a voicemail to call in and be like, oh, I'm live right now. So I'm going to figure out what to do with the phone line and number. Like I can do anything and everything, but I just didn't want to take calls today, mainly because of that. Let me do this. I want to zip through the live chat as best I can. And like I said, if you've got a super chat, I can see that on the screen. I will try and get to that first. But let me rattle off as many as I can here. We're coming up on, let's see, what time is it here? It is, 11:56 out here in California right now. So we're coming up almost on the time where I got to go eat lunch, do some work, get to work. So a couple more minutes here, and then I'll call it a live stream. Martin saying, there's your second channel idea. Brody Brazil Live. Oh yeah, with possible special guests. You know what? It could be a live channel only. It could be like an interview channel only. I just do interviews with people on there. I don't know. I think I just wanted to make it so that sports content goes on the sports channel and pretty much anything and everything else would go on the second channel. I'll be honest, eventually I want to get the second channel monetized. I love making videos, but I can't do this just for a hobby. Like it's got to have some purpose so that it's worth the time. Everything takes time. Like that's part of it too. So you want to see me on location? All right, maybe we could do some of that. Oh, Judge or Raleigh for MVP. You know what? Hasn't Aaron Judge won enough? Like if Cal doesn't get it this season, I've said this before, well, when I was rooting for and covering the A's, if the certain smaller market player doesn't get it this year, then when is it ever going to happen? I hope Cal can repeat this year after year. I hope he's found something and can stick to it, but we'll see. Let's see here. Silicon Sports Spectator. It's a tongue twister. Curious, how many calls does your number 833-4Brody line get? Gets a lot of calls. It's interestingly enough, I would say maybe like 20 or 30% of the time people call, and because I can see the call log, I get an email basically every time you call and leave a message, and it's got the text of what you said. So oftentimes I just read the text first, and then if I'm like, I think I want to actually hear how this sounds, and sometimes the transcription is not great. So then I'll listen to it, and if it's good, I download it. If I download it, I put it in a template, and then I make a video about it. But how many calls does the line get? I would say dozens per day, which is great. And actually, it's weird. It comes and goes in phases. There's a lot of times where I'll get like 24 in a day, and then some days I'll get 6, and then back up to 30. So I don't know if it's the frequency of me advertising it or why that is, but it comes and goes. But I'll say this. I've absolutely loved doing the voicemail line and having that interaction. And that's kind of substituted doing a lot of live streams is doing the voicemail, because you get to say what you want, you get right to the point, you make a great point, and then it lets me expand on it in the video. So that's what I got to say. M3 TV. Hey, Brody. M3. How are you doing, Mac? I remember talking to you before. I hope all is well with you. Why don't they leave MLB alone? Actually go back to exclusively playing intra-league games. The Ghost Runner stinks. 3-batter rule stinks. Managers should be able to manage. Look, I agree. I would love to go back to pitchers hit in the National League. Yeah. Actually, I'm okay with eliminating the shift. I'm okay with the pitch timer. I think I'm going to like the ABS system. There's a lot of things I do like, but there are some traditional things that, and you know what? The 3-batter rule stinks though, but I hated wasting all that time in a game for one pitcher, for one batter, then you yank them. That's not good for the game. You know what? I thought I was totally in tune with everything you were saying, and then I actually am thinking about it. There are a couple. You're right about a couple of those. Some other ones, like we got to go in the weeds to really go one by one here. Which ones stink? Some do. I agree. Sports shorts. Thank you. I've been having fun with the voicemail, and thank you to everybody who calls in and leaves a good one. By the way, if you've called in and you're like, why doesn't he use mine? Sometimes there's duplicates. Sometimes it's even, I've had some really good calls with bad audio quality. Like I can't even really make out exactly what you're saying, or it's so low. Or I had one the other day from Toronto. Great topic, great presentation, but there was like this huge hum in the background. I couldn't even hear what the person was saying. I mean, I could make it out, but I didn't want to play that on the YouTube channel. So, or sometimes it's a good enough point. It's a good comment, but it doesn't spark enough of a conversation to make a video on. Or a lot of times people are responding to a video with a phone call, which I don't want to make follow-ups to videos that basically spoke for themselves. Sewing with Brody. Are we trying to put people to sleep on this channel? Maybe that's like an ASMR. Maybe I'll do an ASMR. Oh, that's what I'll do. That's what I'll do. An ASMR channel. Who wants me to do an ASMR channel? I've decided to take over this live stream and make it ASMR. You have to like do a lot of hand movements. Anybody getting the chills yet or the goosebumps yet? Okay, I'm gonna talk normal now. In case you turned up your speakers. Can't wait to see the comments on that. Wait, did you really super chat me? John, if you say something appropriate, if I missed you in the super chat, I really do apologize. But I have a feeling you didn't super chat. I think there's money involved there. Yeah, but if you want to say something, go ahead. Let me see here. ASMR Sports. ASMR channel with you flying a plane. Nothing but airplane noise. All you'd hear is cats fell asleep. Brody the Roadie. New travel channel. Please tell your son that Miltank is the cutest Pokemon. So I made the Pokemon video with him. And then I looked through some of the comments, and I shared some of the comments with him. And there were actually a lot of comments where I was like, and I think Miltank was one, there were a few others where I asked him, I was like, how come, see, I don't know all the Pokemon. He does. So I'd be like, hey, how come you didn't put Miltank in there? And he'd go, oh, yeah, actually, that is a good one. You're right. So educational for all of us here is part of the process. Do I have anything planned for the 1 year after the last Oakland Coliseum game? Which I think, is it today or tomorrow? Was it the 26th of September last year or 25th? Ooh, I can't believe that I have forgotten a date that was once very important in my life. Let me see here. September last year. So the 20... Yeah, did they play the 26th on a Thursday, right? Yeah, the 25th was a night game. And then the 26th... yeah, I think I have this right. The 26th was the final home game, and the 29th was the final ever game wearing Oakland on the jerseys. Yeah, I've got a video that's coming out tomorrow. It actually started with a call. And look, there's not much to add to the story. It's really more about what are we going to do moving forward? How am I going to handle this? The channel? Should I cover A's stuff? Somebody called in to suggest that, you know what, you should not stop making A's videos because a lot of people need this. That hits. Like, that makes me sad to know that some people, like, they just need, if the conversation dies, they feel like something inside them dies. So I made a video on that. It's coming out tomorrow. It's in the members only section, I think, right now. So you can check that out. Jamal, I agree. Coverage of the 73-23 Oakland Ballers. I didn't do anything immediately, but it's definitely my intention to recap the whole thing in the right way with the right people. So stay tuned. I think what happened there, I think it also, like, give them some time to have the parade tomorrow and let the dust settle on all that stuff. But I think it's worth documenting. That is an incredible story. 2 years in, and like 18 months ago, Raimondi Park was a puddle. It's a big puddle. And now look what they did there. Pretty amazing. No. And nah. Don't cover the A's anymore. History? Yes. Current A's? Absolutely not. I think I see what you're doing there, Joel. Yeah, I think, what I would be doing is covering Oakland A's topics, conversation, history, because that's all we have left, basically, or developments or anything like that. But I think that's pretty much it. BHND Damask. Brody, I left a voice message the other day about the Vegas Golden Knights flying in on the same day as the game. Is that normal or normal for preseason? Any other leagues do that? No. So I didn't know they flew in on game day, which was that Sunday, but that absolutely happens because they don't want to even mess with hotels. They want the players back in their own beds at night. So that game was a 5 p.m. puck drop in San Jose, allowing the Golden Knights to fly in at probably, 11, noon, have a couple hours. I believe they do go to a hotel. They get the hotel rooms for the day, but they don't have to go back there and sleep there. They have a quick power nap, whatever, come to the rink, do a little pregame skate, warm up, play the preseason game, right back on the bus, right back on the plane, go home that night. It's a bit of a long day, but it's so much better than having to do an actual road trip. It is normal in the NHL, and that's why the NHL teams play regional preseason games. They're not crossing the country. They want to make these as quick and easy as they can. They want to get something out of it, but they don't want to have to make the effort and the workload tremendous just to pull it off. Do a meta channel, Brody's Shorts, where you wear and review types of shorts. Oh, this is the second channel. So if you're out there, okay, and maybe put this in the comment section below because this video is probably going to end soon as I eventually sign off. If I do a second channel, what should the name of that channel be? And what are some things that you'd love to see on there that I just don't have space for here on the main channel? Definitely let me know in the comment section. What I'm doing right now, by the way, is loading up the goodbye. Yeah, because pretty soon here, I'm going to be saying goodbye. See, look, I'll give you just a quick preview. Pretty soon, well, the broadcast hasn't concluded yet, but see, I'm loading that up. I've got the music ready to go. Bro time with Brody? Maybe. I don't want to bro it out too much. Back in the day, I used to do a podcast called The Bro Show. And I was like, does that really represent me or my brand? Am I really bro-y type? I mean, it's my name, but am I a bro-y type? I hope not. Beers with Brody? Okay. Now we're talking. But it wouldn't just be limited to that either, though. It's almost got to be even more generic. Backstage Brazil, Brody backstage. Second, yeah, exactly. Places to check out the Bay Area. I would love to do these types of videos and not do them daily, but maybe weekly, couple a month. Should do a media week in review sort of show with highs and lows from broadcast TV sports over the last week. Yeah, I mean, all those things are possible. That's probably more one for my main channel if it's sports, but things like that, just evaluating something. Deep dive into the Seals history. Maybe we'll get there. Oh, Jamal with the critical information. I misspoke. Last I heard, they were trying to aim for Friday for the parade. Parade is actually Sunday, October 5th for the Ballers. I should go. Hang on a second. Check my schedule. Oh, that's 2024. I'm doing this in real time. Might be able to go. Might be able to pull that off. There's Brody Brazil. Behind the scenes Brody. Brody's Place. Should have an old time. This now concludes our broadcast day. Good night, everybody. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Brody in the Bay. Probably, well, you know, the Aviation Channel, I might do some more live streams of radar stuff on there, but I just don't have the bandwidth. I can do stuff on a second channel, but the Aviation Channel is going to be hard. Hard to get ramped up again. Rudy has enjoyed the Angels videos. Being an Angels fan sucks. They are just such an interesting study. Like, they actually spend. And they've had Mike Trout and Ohtani at the same time. And fans show up to their games. And I don't think they're trying to move, but they're not doing anything. And that, like, they've had one playoff win. No, wait. One playoff appearance. Yeah, in the last 11 years. 2014 was the last time. It's kind of amazing. The Angels' just lack of success, really being such a mid team for so many years. Brody's B-side. Nate Dogg. Hey, it's me, Brody. I saw somebody a long time ago, by the way, ask me a Too Short question. Somebody actually, one of my friends asked me the other day, how was it talking to Too Short? It's like, it's great. He's a part owner of the Oakland Ballers. That was our entire conversation was about the Ballers, by the way. But Short Dog was definitely kind with his time and had some fun. Let me drop some lyrics and knowledge on him of his own music. So he was great. All right. I think that might be it. Thank you, everybody, for being here on the live stream. I promise you I will attempt to do this again sooner than later. All of you are absolutely right. It had been too long. It has been too long. But I'll try and get back to these, more so in the fall. Kids are back in school. That's why I've got a little bit of time here. I got to go have lunch, get back to some real work. A lot of editing today. It's an It's an edit-heavy day here at the Brazil house. All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. I will see you next time.